Redditors who have hired a private investigator, what did you find out? I had a girlfriend that worked as a private investigator for a while. She said that the majority of their work was insurance scams. She took a lot of pictures of guys who said they were hurt on the job, playing golf and surfing and such. My dad hired a PI in the mid-90s in Eastern Europe to find out if one of his business partners was stealing from him. Instead, he found out his own brother was stealing from him. He refused to believe the PI and his brother robbed him blind, took a huge amount of money, and left him with gigantic debt. He still forgave him. My story is a little different. I had a PI investigate me. About 6 years ago, I became very ill with a variety of issues that left me really quite poorly. I was an optician, and so using my hands with arthritis was just never going to be a plan. So I applied for UK disability support. I sailed through and started receiving a monthly amount. Now, fast forward a few years. I then start getting restless at home. So I retrain into a job that doesn't involve my hands. I stop receiving money, except for the benefit you can get while you work. I use it for paying a better automatic car off. Well, my very nasty mother's friend saw me start work and called the benefits office, assuming I was still claiming. Unfortunately, she exaggerated and told them I was living a normal life and even running daily. So the benefits office filmed and watched me. They thought they had an aha, gotcha moment. Their PI provided photos of me walking unaided. When I sat in the meeting with a lot of smug fraud officers and my solicitor, I felt sick to my stomach. I really couldn't work out what the F was going on. They were trying to make it look like I had been running and jogging, but I knew I walked never any further than 5 meters to my car. Anyway, solicitor pointed out the photos were screenshots of a video. Asked for the videos. Videos were of me struggling to walk. One of them I rest on my car before opening my door. Another, I was going into a supermarket and had replaced my cane with the trolley to lean on. You get the picture. So, the fraud team basically said oops, and I never heard from them again. I spend a lot of my time trying to appear normal, and it bit me in the arse. And never trust these fraud TV shows now either. I know someone that hired a pet detective to find their cat in DF and found him. I was a private investigator for a little bit. Most work PIs do is searching financial and court records and serving documents. But one time, I was paid by wealthy parents to stake out their college senior who had stopped returning their calls. They were worried about her. These parents paid like $40,000 for round-the-clock monitoring just to find out their daughter dropped out of school and was a full-time ski bum. By the way, stakeouts are mostly just sitting in your car reading all day. Had a babysitter we thought was stealing from us. Luckily our neighbor was a PI couple, and they ran a background check for $10. Babysitter had a string of DUIs. And a few days before a large fine was due, my camera disappeared. He also stole money from my kids' piggy banks. He sort of disappeared, but was also really into Instagram. So I surreptitiously followed him. He started babysitting again for a single mom, easy target, and posted a lot of fun pics with this family. I tracked down the mom and sent her a long email detailing out his whole scam. She said we were right, and it was clear he'd been stealing from her business. He has since gone underground, but I still Google him regularly to see what he's up to. He's been able to avoid arrests for a while now. My law firm had a bad faith insurance case several years ago. A guy had gotten hurt at work. He claimed he was disabled because he hurt his back and could not lift anything or really engage in any type of physical activity. His disability insurance carrier failed to handle the claim and pay him what was owed. There was a potential for relatively large damages. In fact, the carrier filed in the court case what is known as an offer to confess judgment. It's a way of agreeing to let judgment be taken for that amount. The plaintiff can accept the offer or reject it. However, if he rejects the offer, he is responsible for the defendant's attorney's fees. If the verdict ends up being less than the amount of the offer to confess judgment, the offer in this case was $750,000. He rejected the offer. A few weeks later, our PI found out that the plaintiff bowled every week. The PI got video of the plaintiff bowling and copies of his score sheets going several years back through the date of the accident. It was clear he really was not disabled. He also found that plaintiff had been in a car wreck and was making identical injury claims to the other driver's insurance carrier. We filed a motion with the court to dismiss the lawsuit based upon fraud and perjury. The court set the motion for a hearing. But before that happened, the plaintiff dismissed his lawsuit. Back in the 90s, my dad had a friend who owned a Renault Clio Williams, and one day someone stole his car. The car was located in Athens, so after reporting the event to the police, he really wanted to get his car back, because it was expensive, and he hired a private investigator to find his car. After like a week, he received a call from the investigator, telling him that his car was located at a junkyard outside of Thessaloniki. So he went to Thessaloniki and found his car. So he rushed inside a police station to inform them that his car is located at X location. Believe it or not, the officer told him not to mess with the owner of the junkyard. This junkyard was known for stealing cars etc., and hope he will get his money back from insurance. My sister, mid-30s, is adopted and hired one to find her estranged biological father. They came back saying that not only was he still alive and nearby, but he had a daughter, meaning she also had a biological sibling. Further digging from the PI uncovered that they weren't just similar ages either, they were exactly the same age. The evidence suggested that my sister had a twin, and her birth father had taken the twin and vanished. Huge, life-changing news. Eventually, through more incredible detective work, the PI realized that the daughter was actually just my sister. There was no other sibling, and they had just been investigating my sister the whole time accidentally. Needless to say, we asked for the money back. My grandmother's first boyfriend, after my grandfather died, said he was a retired cop and a veteran. They enjoyed dancing to country music together, and bought a new car, in her name though. Even though she can't drive anymore, my uncles hired a PI. Turns out, that old bosser had a habit of shacking up with widows and bleeding them dry. Hadn't heard from my mom since I was about 15. Very unstable due to drugs and alcohol etc. When I was 29, I decided it was time to find out what happened to her. I figured if she was a Jane Doe somewhere, then I could put her to rest. And if she was alive then, I wanted to let her know that I forgave her. Hired a PI to help. I guess she was moved by my story, and so she also ran info for the man my mother was apparently married to on the house, and with one clue from his report, I was able to track them down. I wouldn't have found my mom alive and was just starting out on recovery after being homeless and addicted for many years, if it wasn't for the PI who kindly ran an extra report for free. Mom has remained sober now for about 7 years, and is probably the healthiest she's ever been, physically and emotionally. I know somebody who was like an assistant to the actual PI. She basically went to bingo with a camera in her purse to capture video of a woman. The woman claimed that a car accident had completely immobilized her, but she would take off the neck brace all the time, playing bingo hours on end. Nothing exciting, just capturing fraud. Thanks for watching Reddit Hero. Like and subscribe for more amazing Reddit stories. Also don't forget to share these stories with your family and friends. Click a video below to continue watching our previous Reddit stories.